So we built the case of why, but I can imagine colleagues saying this, well, okay, that's fine, but are we then committing to every kid's going to learn? Does that mean we're going to come early and stay late and give up lunch? And how are we going to, what do we need to do as a school? What are we committing to if we commit to that mission? I think we owe a doable plan of how we're going to get there.
Well, for sure, because I'm hearing people say, okay, I'm getting this in terms of understanding the urgency of maybe doing some things differently, but I've got 3 kids at home, I'm already coaching extra time,
Sure. I'm coming early, I'm staying late.
How is this possible?
Yeah, our staff is stretched as far as it can be, you know, and so we have to make this a doable plan for them. And I think that's part of the mistakes that we've made in the past, is we've piled just more and more and more on the plates, and I think we need to be really clear about how we're going to roll this out step by step, and then how I, as principal, am going to provide support for this. Isn't all going to be done after school. We have to. This is part of our rationale for looking at the school schedule and the timetable.
Exactly.
How can we build this in, and how can I, as principal, better utilize some of the other professionals that we have on our campus, so that I don't want teachers to feel like, oh, this is all on me, all by myself. I have to help all 36 of my kids be successful every day.
Exactly, and I think a few ways we might attack that is, one, you know, I think we can make a commitment that us achieving this has to be done during our current school hours and during our current resources.
Absolutely.
And specifically look at research, and if you look at John Hayes' work, Visible Learning, he says, you know, the best thing to do to ensure that all kids learn, practice is more powerful than when kids don't get home. We work in collaborative teams, so we make a commitment that we're going to work collaboratively to achieve that. And we have meetings now in grade level department. We got to focus that more on the right work of creating a guaranteed and viable curriculum and getting really clear on what things we are and want kids to learn and ensure.
That's huge.
Right.
That's
exactly.
huge, because that's sinking them. You know, they feel like I got to
Cover
teach every
exactly.
single kid everything in this.
Right. Exactly. We say we're not going to try to have kids learn everything, but the most important things, and we'll show that we're going to empower teachers at our school to have ownership of that process, right? And then measuring kids learning on those essential things that we've learned, and then carve out some time in our master schedule for kids to get extra help during the school day when they haven't quite learned those essential things. And one last thing that we could do is, there are schools that are doing this and that are probably farther along, so we could potentially go visit some of those schools, have them come talk to us, show how it was done during the regular school day, show the results of what those schools have done. So we can say, the research would say, here are some doable things. We can show how those things could be done in our current school day. In fact, we're already doing some of these things.
Yeah, we're not starting.
And look, it's working at some more schools under the same kinds of conditions that we work in.
Yeah, you know what I'd like to do too is, if we can find schools that are kind of close to us. I think the most powerful thing is when some of our teachers could just go talk to some of those teachers. Because it's one thing to share the research, but it's another thing when a teacher looks at another teacher and says, you know what, this has made a big difference for my kids.
Exactly, but I think we could be a little strategic on who we send too, because I could think of a few key resistors that would be very skeptical, but if they could actually walk another campus and hear those teachers like them say it's working,
absolutely,
you have a better chance of making them suspend judgment on it.
Yeah, like that guy Mike.
Exactly. So maybe as next steps too, between now and our next meeting, if we can think about researching some model schools, if you want to take a look at that, maybe, and maybe
let's
brainstorm
about who we would send to.
Yeah.
And what are we? Let's just narrow it down to exactly what the changes are that we're seeking.
Yes.
We did a great conversation. So the changes I heard us talk about were the structures of our collaborative teams and helping teams understand how to figure out what kids need to learn,
and giving them the time to do that, so that they know that this is not, we're not doing this after school.
Time is a big piece of what this plan is,
and that's part of what our leadership team has been talking about. Is about finding that time.
Yeah, figuring out, creating a visual or something to see how all staff members are involved and other professionals are supporting, so it's not each man for himself. So
right.
Bringing in our extra personnel, showing that's a change. Were those the main things?
Well, I think that the other big thing that we have to really convey is that to stop worrying about teaching and covering everything and identify some key things, because we can't do all of that, and if we're trying to make it doable, we'll sink the ship right there. If they think every kid has to master every standard.
Okay, so we read, and then the models to come on that, you know, to help find examples of those different things. But I think we need to come at this really clearly with, here's the changes we see needing to make, and we don't see all of this being in place for another,
Sure,
right.
you know.
And here's the research of why it's proven to work. So
Right.
it's not our
So we need to
opinion.
provide the
It's
research, right.
it's this is proven to work.
And then I think that, I like that, Jenna, because that idea of showing them over time how it's gonna scaffold, because then that also implies this is something we're gonna stick with.
Right.
Because you know that a lot of things have blown through here, they come and a year later they're gone. And so we need to show that we have a long-term commitment to this.
Okay.
Thank you, Nina.